Hi, my name is Divan and welcome to the F1 show. If you want to know all about my experiences with Formula 1 and why you should listen or look at my channel at least, or at least hear me out, and the passion I have for motorsport racing, cars, Formula 1, please watch the older videos I have already uploaded for more detailed explanation of myself and the experience I have with Formula 1. Well, let me get back to today's episode. This is the F1 show, and here we talk all about Formula 1. The good, the bad, the ugly side of the sport. Well, one thing I realize is that before we can talk about what is happening today in Formula 1, we first need to understand Formula 1 before we can comprehend where it comes from and where is it going to and what Formula 1 truly is. So let's start by doing some research on aerodynamics, brakes, cornering, driver fitness, energy recovery systems, flag rules, fuel system, logistics, overtaking and DRS, pit stops, power unit, gearbox, race control, race strategy, steering wheel, suspension, testing, the race start and the tires. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 topics that we are going to cover, and they will be divided into 18 episodes. All of them will be labeled Understanding F1 with the relevant heading. Like aerodynamics will have the title of Understanding F1 with aerodynamics explaining what it is. So let's continue. Aerodynamics. A modern Formula 1 car has almost as much in common with a jet fighter as it does with any ordinary road car. Aerodynamics have become key to success in sport, and teams spend tens of millions of dollars on research and development in the field each year. So now we're gonna find out and learn and read more about aerodynamics. A modern Formula 1 car has almost as much in common with a jet fighter as it does with an ordinary road car. Aerodynamics have become the keys to success in the sport, and teams spend tens of millions of dollars on research and development in a field each year. Aerodynamic designer has two primary concerns: the creation of downforce to help push the car's tires onto the track and improve cornering forces, and minimizing the drag that gets caused by turbulence and acts to slow the car down. Several teams started to experiment with the now familiar wings in the late 1960s. Race car wings operate on exactly the same principle as aircraft wings, only in reverse. Air flows at different speeds over the two sides of the wings by having travel different distances over its contours, and this creates a difference in pressure, a physical rule known as Bernoulli's principle. As this pressure tries to balance, the wing tries to move in the direction of the low pressure. Planes use their wings to create lift. Race cars use their wings to create downforce. A modern Formula 1 car is capable of developing 3.5 G's lateral cornering force, 3.5 times its own weight. Thanks to aerodynamic downforce, that means that theoretically a high speed they could drive upside down. Early experiments with movable wings and high mounting LED to show spectacular accidents, and for the 1970s season regulations were introduced to limit the size and location of the wings. Evolved over time, those rules still hold largely true today. By the mid-1970s, ground effect downforce had been discovered. Lotus engineers found out that the entire car could be made to act like a wing. by the creation of a giant wing on its underside, which would help to suck it to the road. The ultimate example of this thinking was the Barham BT-46B, designed by Gordon Murray, which actually used a cooling fan to extract air from the skirted area under the car, creating enormous downforce. After technical challenges from the other teams, it was withdrawn after a single race, and rule changes followed to limit the benefits of ground effects. Firstly, a ban on the skirts used to contain the low pressure area, later a requirement for a stepped floor. Despite the full-sized wing tunnels and vast computing power used by the aerodynamic department of most teams, the fundamental principles of Formula 1 aerodynamics still apply to create the maximum amount of downforce for the minimal amount of drag. The primary wings, mounted front and rear, are fitted with different profiles depending on the downforce requirements of a particular track. Tight, slow circuits like Monaco require very aggressive wing profiles. You will see the cars run low separate blades of elements on the rear wings. 2 is the maximum permitted. In contrast, high-speed circuits like Monza see the drivers stripped of as much wings as possible to reduce drag and increase speed on the long straights. Every single surface of a modern Formula 1 car, from the shape of the suspension links to that of the driver's helmet, has its aerodynamic effects considered. Disrupted air, where the flow separates from the body, creates turbulence, which creates drag, which slows the car down. Look at a different car and you will see that almost as much effort has been spent reducing drag as increasing downforce from the vertical end plates fitted to wings to prevent vortices forming to the diffuser plates mounted low at the back, which help the re-equalize pressure of the faster flowing air that has passed under the car and would otherwise create a low pressure balloon dragging at the back. Despite this, designers can't make their cars too slippery, as a good supply of airflow has to be ensured to help dissipate the vast amounts of heat produced by a modern Formula 1 engine. In recent years, most Formula 1 teams have tried to eliminate Ferrari's narrow waist design, where the rear of the car is made as narrow and low as possible. This reduces drag and maximizes the amount of air available to the rear wing. The barge bores fitted to the sides of the cars also help to shape the flow of the air and minimize the amount of turbulence. Revised regulations introduced in 2005 forced the aerodynamics to be even more ingenious in a bid to cut speeds. The FIA robbed the cars of a chunk of downforce by raising the front wing, bringing the rear wing forward, and modifying the rear diffuser profile. The designers quickly clawed back much of the loss with a variety of intricate and novel solutions, such as the horn winglets, first seen in McLaren MP420. Most of those innovations were effectively outlawed under even more stringent aero regulations imposed by the FIA for 2009. The changes were designed to promote overtaking by making it easier for a car to closely follow another. The new rules took the cars into another new area with lower and wider front wings, taller and narrower rear wings, and generally much cleaner bodywork. Perhaps the most interesting change, however, was the introduction of movable aerodynamics, with the driver able to make limited adjustments to the front wing from the cockpit driving area. That was usurped for 2011 by the new DRS, drag reduction system rear wing. This too allows drivers to make adjustments, but the system's availability is electronically governed. It can only be used in 1 or 2 predetermined zones, and in the race only when a driver is less than a second behind another car at the predetermined point shortly prior to the zones. The system is then deactivated once the driver brakes. Okay, so there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching this episode. Remember, we'll continue with the episodes on understanding Formula 1 and everything involved in Formula 1. I'll see you then in the next episode. Ciao for now.